Hey everyone, I am in Lodi, California. This is a city in the Central Valley, close to Sacramento, and I want to show you some of the highlights, some of the food, some of the outdoor activities, and also some of the local history here. In this video, we'll explore the history of Lodi and San Joaquin County, where agricultural tourism is one of the top draws to this part of California's Central Valley. We'll go on a food tour where we'll try different cheese, as well as lots of pizza, pasta, and we'll do an olive oil tasting. We'll also check out a local bed and breakfast and explore some of the outdoor activities. So let's check out Lodi. School Street in downtown Lodi has a handful of coffee shops, but only one of them is also a bike rental facility. So I am here in the morning. It's a good way to start your morning if you prefer a macchiato to start your day. So Lodi is not quite big enough for a bike share program, but you can rent here, and then you could also have your morning drink. And Tan Tandem also has beer and wine that you could order any hours that the place is open. Cheese Central is in the heart of downtown Lodi. So check this out, nice and cozy. I don't know if it works, but there's a fireplace here. And then they got olive oil, which you cannot go to this part of California without seeing. And then finally, the cheeses are divided into three sections. So this is California, local cheese. Then we also have Iberian right here. And then the final cooler, this is all Alpine. So think like France, Switzerland. And check this out, there's a room in the back where they do, I don't know, I guess cheese making or cheese tasting classes. It looks really intimate. So which one am I going to try first?
So you're going to try Cooper's Hill, which is our most popular cheese in the store. This one has a taste of twice baked potato without the bacon. No meat, don't worry. It is absolutely delicious, shredded over a baked potato. I've actually made a mac and cheese with this. It is so flavorful, it has onions and chives.
All right, the Cooper's Hill is a British cheese, and I'm going to try this one first. This one's pretty sharp. I definitely taste the chives. I even feel something crunching in my teeth, which is probably those.
So what we are trying next is a beautiful double cream brie. It's this one right here that we're featuring. And we're pairing it with a raspberry jalapeno jam. This guy right here. Absolutely delicious together. And here you go.
Brie is my favorite non-Italian cheese, so the expectations are going to be pretty high for this one. This is a French cheese. Okay. Raspberry always goes good with brie, but I'm feeling a little bit of heat on the back end from the jalapeno.
So lastly, we're going to have dessert. This is a salted caramel ricotta. You can see on the bottom the beautiful ricotta. This is the only cheese that we make in-house, and we make it for farmers market only in the summer on Thursdays. This particular one is, like I said, a delicious salted caramel. Goes beautifully with just a spoon or on a slightly sweet biscuit. You're gonna love it.
So this California cheese was just compared to ice cream. So that raises the bar even higher than when they told me it was brie. So let's try this one. Okay. It's like a cheese that's a little bit sweet. It is my favorite of the three. I will say they did a good job of giving me the best ones later on. So my favorites are 3, 2, 1. Love the brie. It was nice and milky. But I think this one is clearly the winner. That kind of reminds me of like a, let's say, not frozen salted caramel gelato. The Erickson building traces the history of San Joaquin County all the way back to the early settlers. So there's a room dedicated to history of the native people in Stockton, Lodi, and other parts of current San Joaquin County. And the Helen Weber Kennedy Gallery teaches us about the history of Stockton and Charles M. Weber, who came over from Germany. And as a food writer, I'm particularly interested in the current exhibit, which is Abuelita's Kitchen, Mexican Food Stories. So right here they have a little map, Los Angeles, which is pretty far from us, but it has a map that goes straight from Los Angeles to different states in Mexico. And it tells the stories of different women and where they came from and recipes. This clamshell dredge bucket weighs a total of 11,500 pounds and dates all the way back to 1904. And if you count the outdoor exhibits, you could really spend the better part of a day here. So you have a recreated blacksmith shop, print shop, recreated school. And then this is the Delta building where you have some mechanical and farming equipment. This is the schoolhouse, a one-room schoolhouse, and I'm curious. Take a look at this, leave a comment. How many of these rules did you obey when you were in school? Now, 80% of the world's almonds come from nearby Modesto, but if you're having walnuts in California, there's a good chance they come from San Joaquin County. The Cortopassi name is big when it comes to agriculture in this part of California. So Cortopassi, as in Corto olive oil, and the company he also founded, Stanislaus Foods, down in Modesto. Here's a bit of a family tree. And here's a recreated produce truck with tomatoes, which are supposed to be some of the best in the country. And I haven't found better, even in Europe. This UC Blackwelder tomato harvester takes up a good part of the room here. So this dates back to 1976, and you can kind of watch what it looks like a little bit more in modern times right here. The Oxford is a British-themed restaurant in downtown Lodi, California, which I want to try some of the different British, Indian, and dishes that you'll find on the menu here. For my entree, it was between the Great Britain tikka masala and the beef Wellington, and the Wellington won out this time because I don't eat it that often as opposed to chicken tikka masala. The green on the inside is melted kale. The beef, very tender, it's perfectly pink, and the outer puff pastry is very crispy. The mushroom and kale is very kind of finely crushed up. Everything in this dish goes together really perfect, and it kind of reminds me that I don't eat this often enough, and I really need to get back to the UK and tour around for the first time in 12 years. It's been 12 years since I've been to London, so this really brings back memories. You know, not a big fan of Pink Floyd. The Beatles so-so, but I really miss London Bridge. And of course the London Underground, the oldest in the world. Just like the movies. I'm on the outskirts of Lodi now. I did a little bit of a short road trip, and I am doing a Taste of Calavirgin olive oil tasting, and I'm surrounded by basically an olive ranch just not too far outside the city. So I got focaccia bread from nearby Stockton, which is the same county as Lodi, and then these are the different ones that are part of the flight right now. So we got basil, we got lime, strawberry balsamic, and then rosemary almonds. 80% of the world's almonds are grown in this area. So the property has total around 150 Arbequina olive trees, 150 acres that is. So that's the one I'm starting with here. So this is Arbequina, which sounds Spanish, and it is. And I'm gonna try it with this focaccia bread. Now I'm trying the lime. I think I prefer the lime between the two. One thing I notice is after I swallowed it down, I don't have that kind of oily finish on my mouth. That went away pretty quick. And these are both pretty mild in a sense that you don't have as much of a peppery finish as you often have. Calavines is the winery that's also on this property. The drinks are on the left, the food is on the right. All right, so now I'm gonna try a 18-year aged balsamic from Italy, and it's called Sinful Strawberry. This would go good with just a Capri salad or even on ice cream, which I may do a little bit later. So 80% of the world's almonds come from this part of California. I'm trying the rosemary ones, and if you see the oily finish, that's because rosemary olive oil is used with these. All right, these are just a little bit salty. Rosemary taste is kind of subtle. And I think the oil on the outside is definitely a plus with these. All right, from Sinful Strawberry to Lustful Lemon Popcorn, I'm starting to sense a theme here. And I kind of feel like it's movie night here, or a matinee. While I enjoyed the taste of Cala Virgin, here's what I thought of the popcorn. So, the popcorn, it's lightly oiled. I always hated buttery popcorn, which this is not. But the salt and the sugar are kind of fighting each other for kind of dominance in the flavor with this one. So I like how they're kind of evenly on there, and I kind of taste them equally. So for more of the lusty lemon ice cream, I'm trying the Cala Virgin signature dessert, which is vanilla ice cream topped with lusty lemon olive oil. And there is a little bit of ground sea salt on there. You can probably see if you get close. This is the small birthday version, so we're gonna pretend that it's December instead of July. All right, the olive oil definitely brings out the flavor in the vanilla ice cream. I don't think I would enjoy it as much as I am without the sea salt on it. I'm at Lake Lodi, and I'm gonna be doing a little bit of an outdoorsy adventure. So here you can rent a kayak. You could either do a guided tour or you could do this on your own. So you could go from Lodi Lake, where I'm at now, to the McCullumee River. Excursions are typically an hour or two. So I'm not a frequent kayaker, but I'm gonna test my skills now. Pietro's has been in Lodi since 1985. It's a full service Italian restaurant with a large menu. It came highly recommended, and I'm especially looking forward to trying a pasta dish or two. So this is Corto olive oil, which comes from nearby Stockton and gets shipped all around the country, very popular in restaurants, and it looks like I'm also getting a little bit of balsamic vinegar along with it. There we go. Thank you. Entrees come with the house-made focaccia. It's a little warmer than room temperature. They told me it's about 3 days. So you can see there's like a little layer of oil on the bottom of it, and I'm about to add some oil to the inside. I'm used to Corto olive oil at this point, so it has that nice peppery finish, and also after you finish, you know, the kind of coat of oil in your mouth, it goes away pretty quick. If that lingers, I'm told that's not a good thing. For my entree, I'm having the oxtail pappardelle. So pappardelle is my favorite non-stuffed pasta. All right, the sauce is kind of medium thick. What really stands out the most is the generous portion of the oxtail meat, and the pasta's done perfect as well. And I enjoyed the bread just as much as I enjoyed the pasta dish, which is pretty unusual for me. So I am gonna sop this up and enjoy the rest of the sauce and the bread. And above the kitchen, there's oregano, and it pretty much goes from the back all the way to the bar. And it's not often that you get to see the tomatoes that are used in your sauce right outside the restaurant. So here we got some that looks like they're just ripe, and then we got others that look like they have a little while to go, but there's just rows and rows of that here. And then they also grow peppers here. If you're looking for a full service hotel, I recommend Wine and Roses, but if you're looking for a charming B&B in the downtown area in one of Lodi's original houses dating back to the early 20th century, I recommend the Poppy Sister Inn, and that's where I've been staying during my Lodi visit. So this is what the quiet neighborhood looks like, and we're only a 5-minute walk from School Street and the main downtown shopping district. You can tell the owner loves plants. So I was told that Guantonio's was the one place I had to try if I wanted to try pizza in Lodi. So I'm starting off with just a classic margarita. And one reason I'm especially excited to try this is I think they use my favorite tomatoes in the sauce, but I will find out in a second. So the outer crust is very firm, very well done, but it's very soft, and I'm assuming it's going to be chewy on the inside. Now they only gave me a fork, so that means I think I should just take a hint and use the fold method. All right, in order, the sauce, the crust, and the cheese stand out the most on this one. I do notice those tomatoes, which they just have so much flavor, like a little bit of tangy, a little bit sweet, perfect balance. And then the crust, it's kind of doughy at the end and just very soft. It's so thin, it's almost like Roman style I've had in New York before. All right, now I'm trying the Bianco Verde. So I asked around, and I was told that the Bianco Verde, as opposed to the margarita, was the one that I had to try, but I had to do the margarita first. So you got arugula, I believe, no, cilantro on top. And then you got, I'm not sure what this means, but double 8 burrata. There's also grana and pecorino cheese on top. The crust on this one is a little bit firmer in the middle. All right, so this one's different. First of all, there's burrata on it and it's cold. Put on after it was cooked. Really taste the garlic and the grana and the pecorino cheeses. Those have a much stronger taste than this one. And it's also because there's burrata, which is runny. This one's a little bit messier than the margarita. And the Bianco Verde is much heavier with all the cheese, so that's not as easy to finish as the margarita. But one more thing I want to say about the margarita. The two original pizzas in Naples are the margarita and the marinara. This is one of the few places where if they had a marinara on the menu, I would order it and just enjoy the sauce without the cheese. All right, if you're gonna come here and you're only gonna try one pizza, you have to start with the margarita. The sauce is as good as any sauce I've ever tasted, with the possible exception of one place in Brooklyn that I've been going to now for 14 years. All right, I did save room for dessert somehow. Noni's cannoli. So Noni is cooking across from me at the pizza station, and meanwhile, the other side is candied fennel seeds and sprinkles. So each side of the cannoli is different. All right, I definitely prefer the chocolate chip side. Um, the candied fennel seed was really, really crunchy. But the cannoli cream, it's nice and smooth, pretty sweet, and a good way to end after two different pies. And equally important, the shells are nice and crispy as if they were just filled. So it's been a relaxing first visit to Lodi. I have to say, I didn't realize how much of the food that goes to California and the rest of the world comes from here. And this is really a great place for agricultural tourism, but there's also a nice main street with a lot of local businesses. And I hope you get to visit here soon. We're less than an hour's drive from Sacramento Airport and less than 2 hours from San Francisco, traffic pending. I got trips coming up to places like Westchester County, New York, Also going to be heading to Hokkaido, Japan for the first time. And then I'm going down south a couple times. I got Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the first time. And then I'm also going to be heading to Greensboro. So I look forward to sharing more videos with you soon. Thank you for watching.